3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone. We are here for another political recap. My name is TrupsLP, and I'm here with the lovely Cthulhu-Kin, Omegon. Say hello, Omegon.
I am lovely, aren't I?
We have to at least say it once in a while. Keep your ego up.
Well, it does help. I mean, it's not like you can reach across the... which ocean is it? Atlantic? Yeah, is it the Atlantic? Ah, fuck it. That big,
Yeah,
big body of water that separates us. And stroke my ego yourself.
Ah, yes. I
Yeah.
stroke well.
I'll have to ask your fiance for further proof of that. So how you been, Traps?
Indeed. Oh, work is a shit, but, I get to come home and I get to do this. So it's always a nice thing to do.
You say that like it's fun.
I would rather do this for a living, yeah.
Wait, hang on, disconnect. I'm watching this 1 minute advert for you, Meg. Get ad block, for fuck's sake. This is going to get demonetized.
At least he's supporting you.
Sorry?
At least he's supporting you.
Can he even hear me say that? I know this is going to get demonetized, and not because of what we say today, but because the first video I'm going to play has copyrighted material in it.
Oh, yay, we're starting strong.
Well, not necessarily. I'm not actually going to talk about this too much. I just want to put it on just to make people cringe. So, for that, you have to go to one of the... And you've got it in the sources, right? I've sent you a list of sources. It's one of the last ones. It's the second to last one. It's a YouTube video.
I see it, yeah.
It's going to be that. Okay? So I'm going to go over there now and press play on it. Oh, fuck it. It's not the right. Do that.
I got you.
Does it look good? It looks good enough. So we're going to have a look at this because Theresa May... Oh, and yeah, ABBA. We get to listen to ABBA. That's the copyrighted material. We know this is going to get demonetized now. Okay. Did you see her dancing?
Yes, of course. I'm watching it with you.
Oh, I've stopped. I paused. Right. So first things first. I get why she's done it because it's playing up to the internet joke. It's owning the joke, which then obviously makes it less funny. I'm all in favour of that. But something I want to highlight now. You know, in the WWE, they have these fantastic entrance musics and intro things that kind of get people pumped. Now imagine a wrestler walks out to Dancing Queen.
There have been weirder opening themes, to be fair.
Fuck's sake, the last dancing themed intro they had in the WWE was Fandango, and his song went up the iTunes charts because people bought it. They loved it.
Oh, there have been plenty. I mean...
Yeah, but it's just... I don't know, it's something really... And I've watched back a few other party political conferences from days gone by, and they are cringe. Just, if you've been announced, just come out. We don't need music. Just walk out. If you're that uncomfortable about the potential silence, dancing meme, yes, dancing meme.
This is kind of a sequitur, but somebody else had mentioned the idea of WWE when talking about politics, and they were saying that the way that Trump handles like his rallies and shit, it's like a WWE like promo.
Okay, so I'll draw a comparison. I recently watched his rally in Mississippi.
Yeah.
I watched that and then watched the party political conference for the Tory party. I even watched Labour's. Well, some of it, fucking hell. And it's nowhere near as interesting as Trump's. It is definitely playing to a crowd, and that you've got to be a showman. And obviously showwoman, of course, as well. I don't want to be rude or sexist here. But
yeah,
it is...
Damn it, she's a dancing queen.
Yeah, well, you could... Yeah, a bit... She needs some WD-40 in those joints, mate. Just...
Yikes.
Might I recommend some anal lube?
No. I want nothing to do with it.
is very cringy to watch those elements, but owning it like Theresa just did, got to give her props for that. It's interesting.
Give them respect.
Yeah. The other video that I linked to was a highlights of the conference, but I don't really want to cover it too much. Most of it was just like bollocks about Brexit. And I do want to talk about this for a minute because there are developments. So, for those who don't know, Theresa May's plan, her foolproof, unbreakable plan, is to proceed, as I have said many times. How do you get a wrench? You don't. Sorry, Discard gets a wrench because he's monitoring for dibular behaviour. And I'm too lazy to give wrench. I'm also on the wrong account, and you tagged the wrong person. I can't give wrenches because I'm on OBS. I don't actually have the stream up anyway. But her foolproof plan is to proceed with Chequers. Now, we've talked about this a few times. I have mentioned it so many fucking times. I went through it. 90 blah blah pages of nonsense. It does not work. And for those who don't know, it basically ties us to the EU in all but name. We've left the EU by name, but we're tied to the EU nonetheless. That's it. That defies the will of the people. Even those that voted Remain know that's a bad deal. That's worse than no deal. And this idea has been... I mean, it was the most promising initially, until people read it and then noticed, oh look, you didn't even put this in the finer print where no one would notice it. You put it front and centre that we essentially get a massive diamond-studded strap-on stuck up our backside. Dry. And I think it's one... And it got shot down. It got demolished. Boris Johnson's still reaming it a new one. In fact, during the Tory party political conference, he flayed it. He said that she had to throw it away. He said that she said she needs to throw it away. And rightly so. She should not be proceeding with this. It is a simple case that this does not work. It will not work. And even EU now, upon realising that realising they could just fuck us even more, I think, actually. Because to be honest, Barnier and Juncker and other twats, they all said it was fantastic. And they said it's fantastic because it essentially tied us to them. But we had no say over how they operated. Meaning that we were basically being butt-fucked for lols and keks and glory of the United Federated States of Europe. But then, when they realised it didn't work because of the Northern Ireland issue, they decided to... and we'll get to Kavanaugh soon enough, Mr. Tainted or Miss Tainted. They realised it didn't work. They decided to fuck with us, which is fine. And we're coming to the end of the negotiating period, and yeah, no deal is pretty much the only one left. Theresa May, though, is still doubling down on this, to the point where she believes this will work. But, and most recently, Emmanuel Macron said that no deal is better than the Chequers plan. Even one of the biggest countries...
That's saying a lot from the Frenchman.
It is from the second or third biggest economy in the EU. There are 3 big economies in the EU. Germany's one, France is the other, and we are the third one. Which is why a no deal for the EU is bad. It's bad for both of us. I've said this many times. I don't think no deal is a good idea. However, even though we're coming up with the ideas and they're all being shot down, if no ideas are being brought forward, and no idea can be agreed upon, then no deal is what happens. There is a transition period, but, you know, it's going to be a fuck-up. And Theresa May is screwed because she still thinks that Chequers could work. And this is dangerous because it doesn't work. It's been proven not to work. And she's still blind. She was being interviewed on Andrew Marr. And Andrew Marr, he's a very good political commentator on BBC, considering BBC's bias. He's actually not bad. And he did question her and grill her quite extensively about this. And she's conceded that if no deal is reached, then it is no deal. There'll be no second referendum, which the Labour Party, and we'll get to them in a minute, there'll be no second referendum on this. And I know people on Twitter, and I'll get to it now actually, people on Twitter and various other social media platforms and at the Labour Party conference were talking about a second referendum. Thing is, now this is a key, this is really annoying. So Sir Keir Starmer, which is hilarious to know he's a sir when you think that Jeremy Corbyn is very much anti-royal, but his chief negotiator or shadow negotiator on the EU stuff is Sir Keir Starmer. Some dickhead called Sir Keir Starmer. He said he wouldn't be opposed to a second referendum, but, and this is where people seem to think he meant second referendum on in-out. Actually, no, he didn't say that at all. He said a second referendum on the terms of the deal, not an in-out referendum. A second referendum, but not in-out. In fact, he's accepted we're leaving. And this is supported by even by that fucking Marxist commie John McDonnell, the shadow chancellor of the Exchequer, who wants to overthrow capitalism. Who, quite interestingly, I was watching because when I get really bored or I feel down, yeah. So if you ever feel like depressed or bummed, what you do, you find something on YouTube that puts a big smile on your face. For me, it's the 10-hour Brexit stream from the BBC, because it's like the Donald Trump election night, watching the Young Turks, watching their live feed. It starts off a bit slow, but as the night progresses, the smile gets bigger and bigger. And I've watched it a couple of times because there were some interesting quotes with Dimbleby, the presenter, trying to catch people out. But John McDonnell, he was quite clever. He didn't take a side. He conceded that it was quite an ugly campaign. He's actually a lot nicer, a lot more very, very upfront, unlike Corbyn, which surprised me a bit. I've got a bit of respect for McDonnell now, even if he's an economic catastrophe. All in all, by the way, I'm going to sum this up. Let's see. Labour Party conference was hilarious. There were some contradictions, but otherwise, meh. And as far as the Conservative one went, it's Chequers still. It's Chequers, for fuck's sake. Can you stop with it, Theresa?
Basically, I'm listening to this all, and I'm just thinking, like, you ever see kids, like real little kids, try and play football, soccer for us, football for you,
Mm-hmm.
and you know how like everyone's rooting for them, but they're not actually really going for the goal. They're kind of just looking at the ball and falling over themselves, going after it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's Brexit to me.
Brexit, I think most people can agree, it has been an absolute mess. Many can blame and attribute blame or lay blame on anyone. Loads of people, in fact. You could start with David Cameron for calling the referendum to begin with. The majority of people I know who I speak to, and to those who wonder why I put that video on the screen and didn't press play, is because this conversation continued. And it was interesting. He called it because he lost all his negotiating bargaining chips when he went to negotiate with them to change shit up, reform, so we didn't leave. They instead decided, no, what we really need is a closer unity, so we need you to get rid of your sterling pound and convert to the euro, which is kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back, to be honest. The majority of Brits do not want the euro, never wanted the euro. The euro is a shit currency. I'm sorry, but we Brits, we love our pound notes, okay? In fact, that's a term. We love a pound note. If we said we love a euro note, it just doesn't sound right. I'm not saying. By the way, there probably are some people who voted leave just because of that. I don't want to crap on them too much because it's choice. But he called it because obviously the rise of UKIP. He called because of the divide in his own party because of this issue. And I think even I agree we shouldn't have had to do that. But when the option was put in front of me, the only option realistically was to leave. And it's caused a massive divide, and it's been a mess because the governing party are so divided on it. And the annoying thing is, the majority of the cabinet are Remain voters, and self-sabotage is what most people see it as now. Optics are not in their favour. The Prime Minister is an ardent Remainer, and that people will believe is why we're not doing so well at negotiating. I would say it's not so much that. I would argue it's more because the EU are utterly inflexible and intolerant of change and difference. and they are an authoritarian group. Some of the things they're trying to pass right now are moving step by step closer to removing free will from people. And it's dangerous now. I'm not happy with that. If you can't affect change, then the only option is to actually okay. So, if you're involved in something, right? Let's say you're involved in a globalist established body, and I just realised I've been talking 15 minutes. My apologies to everyone who listens. You have a global body, and you're a member of it, along with many other nations, and you democratically discuss things and debate things, and you vote on things. But then when you don't get your own way, you have three options. You negotiate, you walk away, or you do what Theresa May did when she lost a vote in the UN and simply airstrike it on a whim anyway. Cough, cough, Syria, cough, cough. It's just a shame that since Theresa May didn't get her way here, she didn't just bomb the rest of England or bomb The Hague or Brussels. Whichever's nearer. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I do. And actually, we can segue out of that. Speaking of bombing.
Oh yes, I'll go and find it first.
Would you like to hop into the U.S.-Iran escalating conflict?
You know, that's a fantastic segue actually. So fuck it, let's go for it. Okay. So the US is ordered to lift some Iran sanctions by International Court of Justice. Okay, before we even go into this, why have the US placed sanctions on Iran? For those who don't know.
Basically, during the Obama era, that we had kind of lessened a lot of the sanctions that we had placed on Iran's nuclear program, and we took a very hands-off approach to try and appease and also kind of stabilize the region in a nicer way.
Mm-hmm.
Now that necessarily couldn't have been, it didn't go very well over time, and in fact, we just ended up getting basically trounced on by everybody in basically the OPEC coalition, all the oil barons of the area. And so Trump, when he got into office, one of the things that he campaigned on was basically, the Iran nuclear deal is one of the worst deals that we've ever gotten into because we end up losing out much more than they do.
Somebody told me that the Iran deal was lifting sanctions on funds that they had in the US. Is that true?
Frozen funds.
Right, yeah.
Basically, we had frozen a shit ton of their assets.
Why are there assets in the US to begin with?
Because all they can export is oil. Oil and gold. That's about it. So they have no necessarily other exports. So their assets... Basically, let's say we have money and we put it aside and say we're going to use this money and, we'll give it back to you as we get your oil.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I'm guessing more or less that's how that worked out. Honestly, the finances of these backdoor deals.
Oh wait, Dibula says in the chat, Obama freed up their money in exchange for nothing. Is that a gesture of goodwill or something?
Probably. Well, at least he tried to be, but there's
a word for that.
We've had a history.
There's a word for that. There's a word for it. Sucker.
Yeah, for real.
As you were.
something about history and appeasing, superpowers who have no care in the world. Honestly. Oh, you guys should know all about this.
Oh,
Britain
tell everyone. Too. Yeah, tell us all.
Hashtag Hitler.
Hashtag Hitler.
But no, so I mean that's basically it. However, Iran and U.S. relationships have gotten so bad, and one of these articles actually likens the.
That's the other one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it the missile at Syria?
Yes.
Okay, so Iran launches missiles at Syria, but message is aimed at US, Israel, and Saudi. Okay, so Iran, for anyone who doesn't know, if Iran launches any meaningful attacks on Israel, Saudi Arabia, or the US, if they actually did, there would be a genuine bona fide nuclear holocaust in Iran. That is a guarantee. Because one of those countries has nuclear bombs. Oh no, sorry, two of them do. And the third one could just buy them from Pakistan.
I can't imagine that Saudi doesn't have it too.
I'm hard pressed to believe they don't, but let's just play along and say they'll buy them off Pakistan. They'll just buy them a palace or something. Give us a nuke. We're going to teach Iran, those infidels, a lesson.
But somebody had mentioned that when Iran launches these strikes, they're always aimed at quote unquote militants who are destabilizing the region. But a lot of them are usually their signs to the allies saying, this can come at you at any point in time if you fuck with us. So one of the comments that I had read while I was reading through articles similar to this was that they kind of do it like whack-a-mole. So when something pops up, they attack it, and then they look at the person who they really want to hit and go, "You see that? You see that? We'll fucking do that to you."
There's an Iranian state TV reporter who did not mince words. He said, in a few minutes, the world of arrogance, especially America, the Zionist regime, and the Al Saud, will hear the sound of Iran's repeated blows. There's also another quote above it: death to America, death to Israel, death to Al Saud. Right. Yeah, if it wasn't for the fact you're just firing toy missiles, I can't imagine anyone would give so much the fuck. Although, if you want to do something for you, like you want to get something back, perhaps, do you do it by firing missiles at a country that has, quite frankly, suffered far too much over the last 10, 20 years?
That's an interesting question, because in my opinion, me personally, as I am not a leader of a massive country, sure, I'd be a dick, because I don't have an entire country of people, of women and children whom can reap the consequences of my reckless action. The problem is when that kind of attitude, the I don't give a fuck and you better watch yourself attitude, comes from somebody with a global superpower, let's say. That is just simply irresponsible, because and it shows what kind of a leader they are. The whole thing with, I would even say, and now don't get me wrong, Saudi Arabia is not great itself. It's better though than Iran in some aspects, in terms of international communications and at least willing to work with other people. I would say Saudi Arabia can handle themselves.
I would have thought so, since they have some of the richest people on the planet there. I'm sure they could just buy a military off Russia.
That being said, Saudi Arabia really doesn't like Canada right now.
Yeah. Because people are terrified of those fucking Canadian moose fuckers.
They were so mad that the US and UK didn't say shit. We were like, what? You wanted to be a big boy? Go.
Yeah, here's your chance. Show us what you got. I'll be honest, probably because we just don't give a damn. Our genetic apathy and their genetic apologies just don't mesh.
And we're too much of a fight. We're like, we've taken every fight from you. You do one for yourself for once.
Yeah.
It's like an old retired military veteran looking at the younger punks.
Yeah, of course. Whippersnappers. There's a video here of Rouhani calling US threat to shut down Iranian oil exports. Is that what he's threatening to do?
Oh, which one? I'm sorry.
On that article about the missile launches in Syria, further down, Rouhani, I don't know if he talks in English. I'm going to press play and see what we get. If it loads.
Oh, Rouhani.
The U.S. has made it clear that it wants to bring your oil exports down to zero. Do you think that will happen, and how will you respond if it does?
Okay, he's not talking in English at all, but I'm going to press play anyway, okay? It's only 20 seconds.
Okay. The United States is not capable of bringing our oil exports to zero. This is an empty promise, and it's a threat that is empty of credibility, perhaps on this path.
I'm going to quote someone else and say anything important that has to be said should be spoken in English. Okay, so he says that Rouhani has said that the threat of reducing Iranian oil exports down to zero is an empty promise. He can't deliver on this. Do you think that's true, or do you think he'll just blow Iran up so their oil just vanishes in a big puff of smoke?
I would have to say that it is probably an empty threat as of right now. And the only reason I say that is because we have such a large infrastructure of military vehicles that require thousands upon thousands of oil.
But
that if we were going to fight them, we would have to use that oil to fight them.
Okay, so there is something I do know that might lend credence to whether or not it's empty or not. And that is that the US has recently become the largest generator or exporter of oil worldwide now. They are the largest.
Yeah.
So whether or not they can shut down Iran, I don't know if they can, but if they become more desirable or preferable based on quality, it could be debated whether or not Trump could deliver on that. It's possible, but there are some countries that will just take the foulest of oil anyway. Although no one's buying Venezuela's, but that's only because they're fucking idiots.
Right. But that's the interesting thing, right? So we are a large exporter of oil.
Mm-hmm.
But if you notice, a lot of these fights always are about oil. One of the issues between Russia and Germany, our comments was that Germany was going to be fully reliant on Russian energy.
Mm-hmm.
The issue with Iran is that they're trying to basically use this vast supply of oil they have against us, and so on and so forth. It's not necessarily something that we cannot handle, but it is definitely something that is going to take time and patience in order to starve them out, as opposed to going gung-ho, boots in the ground, and start blowing shit up. This would be more of a calculated siege if I were to play this.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes more sense actually. So how do you what are the sanctions that the US have placed on Iran? Was it just frozen assets and that's it?
I mean, it's medical supplies. It is food. It is agriculture. It is medicine, pharmaceuticals. Let's see here. What do the sanctions cover? The moves targeting oil-rich Iran's automotive industry, civil aviation sector, as well as trade of gold and other metals are the first in a set of punitive measures have been eased under President Barack Obama. This is from the NBC article. It says Donald Trump reimposes sanctions.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of them there. So it looks like basically different pieces that require that Iran needs in order to sustain their economy. We're less likely to give it to them.
Okay.
I think honestly, if you were going to starve out a country, sapping their resources to make money as well as medicine and agriculture is probably the best way to do it.
But I don't know much about their agriculture. I can't imagine it's that good.
Like the fucking desert.
Iranian agriculture. It hadn't occurred to me to look this up. Let's have a look. Land, natural flora is 4 times that of Europe. Wheat, rice, and barley are the country's major crops. That now surprises me. Yeah, that does surprise me. Lesson learned for the day then. Iran actually has stuff. They're not North Korea yet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right, so there is an article I did click on in that article where it says the Iranian deal offered Tehran billions of dollars in sanctions relief in exchange for agreeing to curb its nuclear program. The agreement was aimed at ensuring that Iran's nuclear program will be exclusively peaceful. In return, it's lifted UN Security Council and other sanctions, including in areas covering trade, technology, finance, and energy. This deal was sealed in 2015 by Barack Obama.
Hussein.
Thank you, Socky, for the £5 donation. Here's towards the cushion. Yes, the cushion. Oh, and if anyone's interested, Trups' Streamlabs is linked below. Consider donating. You need booze, okay?
Yeah, man, all the booze I needed in my life.
Yeah. Who signed it? Okay, so it also mentions here who signed the deal. It was signed in agreement with 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council, the US, Russia, France, China and the UK, as well as Germany and the European Union, so just Germany then.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, just Germany. And why is the deal controversial? So there's a reference here to that. I should probably link this to you, even though
Saki, I always talk to you. It's just that I didn't know who you were for a while because your goddamn name wasn't there.
Yeah, to be fair, you did change your name to a logo or to some kind of thing. I don't know what it is.
I didn't know who you were until about 2 weeks into the political recaps.
Oh fuck it! Take this to IBS, man. Take it to IBS. Just fight it out. As of May 2018, there was broad consensus that Iran has abided by the agreement. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, however, has alleged that Iran lied about its nuclear weapons ambitions, although the information he shared seemed to match up with what nuclear inspectors had already reported about Tehran's program. Critics also allege that the deal itself is flawed and does not prevent Iran from engaging in aggressive actions. President Trump has made no secret of his dislike of the agreement, calling it the worst deal ever while he was, a businessman. People have been flaying him because they claim in some financial documents that he didn't get given $1 million to start up his business. He was given $420 million.
Oh, thank you, Saki, for the $1 and literally the message saying would. Thank you.
Worth it. Restoring sanctions amounts to a US breach of the original deal, whereas Iran was deemed to be compliant according to international nuclear inspectors. On the other hand, some experts see the Iran deal as a good scenario for denuclearizing North Korea. I couldn't care less about North Korea in this picture, because if North Korea want to flex their muscles again, it's just going to end up with a dick waggling contest. And as far as I was aware, more progress has been made in that particular region. I still think it will be a two-state. I think it'll be 2 states. I think it will retain autonomy over the South, and the South possibly just becoming Korea or something. New Korea, how about that? And then Korea, how about that? That sounds good. I think that will happen, and they'll probably go down the path of installing a permanent hereditary head of North Korea.
Thank you, Saki, again for a $1 donation saying would.
Look at that. He's a lover.
Yes, he is.
Okay, so let's...
This is message would.
Since last week, we spoke quite lengthy, quite a lengthy... we spoke for a long time. Lengthy was the word I wanted to use. I couldn't. Fuck it. We spoke for the whole stream about Christine Blasey Ford and the Senate committee hearing, where I retained quite a heavy amount of skepticism on whether or not she is telling the truth. I don't believe it. Oh, and I've seen the picture of her. I've seen her yearbook picture. Have you seen that picture?
I have, and Saki, another $1 donation saying would.
I'm just going to say this now, and fantastic. Thank you, Saki. Gotta say it now. I've seen her picture from her yearbook profile. That bitch never got raped. I'm sorry. But
I was so tempted to think that when I saw her fucking doing the testify, I was like, who the fuck thought that was a good plan?
Yeah. I saw the picture, I saw the memes as well. I'm sorry, but even with beer goggles, and I've got a pair of beer goggles, I looked at that picture and I couldn't find any kind of anything that would give me a boner. There's just nothing there that could do it.
Yeah.
So I was a bit, yeah. But it's continued to spiral out of control, really, hasn't it? I saw SNL did a sketch mocking Kavanaugh's very impassioned or emotional response to what's been going on with Matt Damon. And
Matt Damon.
Yeah. But also I noticed, and this is a bit of a contradiction, I noticed that whenever the Democrats want information now from the Republicans, they press for it. But when they're now asked for information, as in the Democrats, they're refusing. In fact, there was a report that was supposed to have come out, but instead it's being held back for only Senate viewing about the FBI report. That's the report I'm talking about. And
hold the thought 1 second. Saki with another $1 saying, I am so retarded. I'm sorry, Saki. I hear that's a permanent condition.
Thank you, Saki, for the $1 donation. So, with what's been happening, do you want to fill everyone in with what actually has gone on since then?
Surely. So, after last week's stream, they had gone into a vote, and they were going to vote on Kavanaugh's confirmation. The Senate did confirm him, however, contingent on an FBI investigation being completed in a week, delving into some of the allegations, because that's what the Democrats wanted.
Mm-hmm.
As we moved forward with that, people started flipping shits before things even got underway. I mean, they were absolutely livid that it wasn't long enough. The scope wasn't large enough. They weren't going to be able to interview enough people. They could come up with any excuse about why this FBI investigation wasn't sufficient, and they were throwing it, man, constantly.
Yeah. I also, and this is quite an interesting one. So, for those who don't know, a week before Christine Blasey Ford submitted her letter, her criminal record was erased, along with many other of her social media presences. They were absolutely scrubbed clean. I don't know why, but when people found out, it didn't help. People would then say, oh, she wanted personal space. But no, there are so many people who are doing the believe thing on Twitter, and I see it, and I just immediately mute. I can't be fucked with it. I can't be fucked.
Thanks, Saki, one more time for $1 that says, Hail Chaos.
Isn't that the 5th time now?
Yeah, it's $5 now.
Congratulations. You're rich.
Oh, thank you.
That'll buy you some beer. But yeah,
buy me something.
Yeah. I was watching. I saw Ranting Monkey tweet about it as well, about the report and the delays, and then the obstructions. Essentially, they were given a week. That was their mandate. You had a week to finish this, and that report has to be public. But then you've got the article you linked me, a request by the Senate Judiciary Chairman Chuck Grassley, and I think I might have to expand the tweet first before so I can show everyone. Yep, I can show everyone that. That's fine. Did you want to read some? Have you got the tweet open, by the way?
Which one is that?
Okay, so if you go to the Federalist article you linked me on Ford refusing to turn over the documents, the tweet by Pat Ward, and then open up the image. I thought we'd read from that first.
Which one? I see two here.
So the first tweet you get on that article, that tweet, and it's the first.
Pat Ward. Yeah, I see it.
And it's the first image, which has the tweet, which has the United States Senate official request.
Yeah, alright, I got it.
Go for it, nigga.
News. Fox News obtains letter through sources sent from Chuck Grassley to Dr. Ford's lawyers requesting material evidence.
No, read the letter. Read
all of it, or just the important part?
Okay, where's the important part?
It's on the second page.
Oh, right.
And the second paragraph.
The full details, right? Yeah, read that then. Fuck it.
The full details of Dr. Ford's polygraph are particularly important because the Senate Judiciary Committee has received a sworn statement from a longtime board friend.
Polygraphs are bollocks.
Yes, indeed, and she knows it too. Stating that he personally witnessed Dr. Ford coaching a friend on polygraph examinations. When asked under oath in the hearing whether she'd ever given any tips or advice to someone who was planning on taking a polygraph, Dr. Ford replied, never. This statement raises specific concerns about the reliability of her polygraph examination results. The Senate, therefore, needs this information.
It does. I've got to say, I mentioned last week there was one lie I caught her out in. She's been caught out at least 4 times. People are trying so desperately. They're scrambling to protect her, setting up legal funds which have raised over $500,000 for her. That money is paying for a new holiday home in another country where she can hide, because she needs to if she's caught out. And the lie last week, for those who don't remember, was that she said she'd never told anyone the story ever, only to then 5 minutes later say, "Oh, so I was telling people this story on the beach." I'd like to know the context setting. I really do need to know someone. I need her to paint me a picture. Explain to me in what universe is her not telling anyone, but then how getting to the point in a conversation with people on a beach where she felt comfortable to tell people, "Oh yeah, so in the land of Never Everland, I was raped by some virgin. Yeah, let me show you my yearbook photo, so you know definitely I was telling the truth, and I wasn't an incel from a very early age."
Right? I don't think he was an incel. I just don't
No, I think she was an incel.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen a yearbook photo? Fucking, I'm gonna get. You know the SJW types that I did lots of response videos to back in the day.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, they hear me say that. Oh my god, the triggering.
I'm pulling it up right now just so we can pull it up.
Pull what up?
Blasey Ford. Her yearbook photo.
Oh yeah, give me a picture. Okay, so I'm gonna tab back to us talking.
First one I found.
I'll that's not the picture I was thinking of.
There's a couple of them, but that's one of them.
Hang on.
I can tolerate that one.
That is not the photo I saw. Never mind. It's possible I was trolled. No, I'm kidding. It's not a great picture, but it's not as cringy as others, I guess. The picture I was sent, I was shown actually. Oh yeah, okay. Nah, I found the really funny one. I'm gonna use that first because it's funny. I'll just go to Google. All right, so the one that was being shared about was this one here. People see it on stream. It's a really good. I know it's a hoax. I know it's a hoax. But that one made me chuckle the most when I saw it. But I think her picture's actually just further up the page. Actually, it's just like up the top here. Nice and pleasant, very mundane. Let's move on. With the refusal, there is actually a letter on the article by Katz, Marshall and Banks, where they have said to the chairman, regarding the documents you have requested in your letter, Dr. Ford is prepared to provide these documents to the FBI when she is interviewed. We have not yet heard from the FBI about scheduling an interview with her. That feels like a stalling tactic.
Without a doubt it is, and also it's completely bullshit. Like, you asked for it. You wanted the FBI to investigate. You brought up the allegation. They're asking you for evidence, and you said, well, when you listen to me, I'll fucking give you what you want.
There's a tweet further down that says, worth remembering that for all the talk of the FBI's supplemental background check, the Constitution confers authority to advise and consent on the Senate and only the Senate. Refusal to provide info to the committee is striking.
It's also illegal.
Yeah. So why are people not talking about that? Why are they not talking about the fact that it's moral outrage that's winning this? It's not fact. I know
because whammon.
Whammon. I can't be arsed. The moral outrage, this Me Too bullshit is doing my head in. There are a few people involved in it. They have legitimate concerns. Yes, I'll agree. But fucking hell.
Did you see? Now this is going to be a non sequitur completely. Well, not really actually. But did you see Steven Crowder's rape culture is a myth video?
Mm-hmm.
that shit was fantastic, and it really it struck a testament because one of the last guys who's in the video who talks brought forward the idea that he honestly doesn't know why he holds the position he does. It's just something that he's learned and heard and accepted.
Yeah.
And I think this is a terrifying precedent that we are setting for the youth of the next generation.
Well, it's that idea that I put forward with that we're not raising children to be adults, and with universities especially, you're raising children to continue acting like children. That's not how any society should operate. Children do the very playground things where it involves hysteria, moral outrage, but kids don't understand that concept. But adults do. And unfortunately, it's working. It's like witch hunts, but in current year without the burning. It's, if they could, they would, but yeah, a bit barbaric.
I've gone against using the phrase witch hunt just because people have been like, "Oh, you're using that word so much."
I haven't used it once, so I'm okay.
Yeah. That kind of leads into another thing when people say, "Oh, you use these witch hunts and all these words that used to be related to women suffering." Isn't it interesting that you guys are using that now? You can't stop appropriating our culture. And I was like, oh, fuck off.
It doesn't. Yeah, the gender argument plays no part in the topic of itself. It's genuinely it's a turn of phrase, and it's a very good one because it accurately describes the behaviour of those involved in this. And I'm just going to pull up the one tweet, that last one by Shannon Bream. It's disappointing that Dr. Ford's attorneys were willing to share evidence with the Washington Post, but to this day refused to share the same evidence which Dr. Ford relied on in her testimony with the Senate. The very same Senate that are more than likely still going to confirm Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court Justice. Because...
Tomorrow, probably.
Yeah, because you haven't got anything now. And I do want to talk quickly about Flakey. Because he should resign, though. Fucking pussy.
I thought he was quite weak-spined as well.
I'm sorry, but you got accosted and bullied. You're a politician, and you opened your mouth and said that you were going to vote for him. Oh, there's an article here. It was written on the 2nd of October. 3 Blasey Ford witnesses interviewed by FBI. Here's what they said. I'm going to see. Let's see if there's anything here. It's all words. Okay. There's a picture of Justice being blind with the Justice set in with a little bubble next to her head saying "Me too." What does it say? Smith truthfully answered a question asked him and consistent with their information previously. Blah 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 blah. Okay, here we go. So Smith, Patrick J. Smith, one of the people, he was a Yale was a party guest. So he said that the information previously provided to the Senate Judiciary Committee, he indicated that he has no knowledge of the small party or gathering described by Christine Blasey Ford, nor does he have any knowledge of the allegations of improper conduct she has levelled against Brett Kavanaugh. Smith's lawyer had a statement. So you also references here that the Senate Judiciary Committee Democrats signed a letter with a list of 24 additional witnesses they wanted interviewed by the FBI. With only Delaware Senate Chris Coon being the only Democrat not to sign. What about the others? There was Smith, Leland Kaiser, and Mark Judge. Smith being the only one who actually had something said. Mr. Judge, Judge. Mark Judge has been interviewed by the FBI, but his interview has not been completed. Waiting for the FBI to finish on that as well. It sounds like the FBI dawdling, actually, to be honest. I'm disappointed, Trups.
That's because this whole shit is disappointing. The whole thing is just a massive disappointment. First of all, it shouldn't have even gotten to this point.
No, it should not have. It's weird that with the people I've been watching on Twitter on the side of the Me Too part, people, certainly within the SJW sphere, their belief is that if Kavanaugh is confirmed, it'll only confirm that the US is just full-on misogyny and patriarchy is real, and that this defeat is one that cements sexism as being systemic. But that's not what's happened here. They pulled out, and this is the only one that's stuck. Actually, think about it. the other accusations of rape. Do you remember those that came out?
Oh yeah, the gang rape ones.
Where the fuck are they? This is the only one that's stuck. The others have all disappeared. So this is just astonishing.
Just a bitch, and like her boyfriend went on fucking Fox and was like, "This is not a thing. She's a psychopath. She got into my face and yelled at me to hit her. Don't listen to a word she has to say."
But my narrative. I think this is absolutely.
The narrative is go fuck yourself.
It is, and I think this is quite interesting. This is the one that's stuck. It shouldn't. I can't believe it's going this far. But you believe this will all end tomorrow?
I certainly. Well, no. It won't end. It will be resolved, but it won't end.
No, I don't. Okay, so the only way it ends is if an investigation is done. Let's just not put Comey in charge, because fucker takes 2 years and he still hasn't done shit.
Fucking Rod Rosenstein did it, and it was like, hey, by the way, you know how you're into that Russian probe? Could you maybe like take time out of your day and investigate this bitch from 36 years ago?
Do your
Thanks.
job. He just won't. It's not going to go very far. I'd be very disappointed if they managed to drag this out, but I would not be surprised if they did, because I think
I want fucking leakers inside this Senate Judiciary Committee. I need to find out who the fuck first of all leaked the information to the Washington Post.
Yeah, why only them?
Right. Why them? Whom from them? This sounds like something that Project Veritas is gonna get on soon.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Then they're fucking good.
They are.
But no, because listen, she didn't want to be in public, so the fact that once she started becoming public and she had to come up with reasons why she couldn't fly, she couldn't do this, she couldn't do that.
Can I, before you continue with that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Dibula in the chat. The House Dems are already promising to impeach him if he's appointed. Haven't they been trying to do that for Trump for the last 2 years and not been successful? Oh wait, Soki's already mentioned what I said. Continue.
Yeah, there you go. You know what's interesting about that thought is that this Kavanaugh thing, for a while now, the Republicans were kind of content in this country. They were very lackadaisical, and our motivation was very minimal. We had won, right? So we were relishing in the victory. Well, this shit came up, and it went from 68% who said that they are very eager to go and vote in the midterms to 80%. I'm like, oops.
Well, that's going to backfire. This could backfire magnificently on the Dems then in November.
Oh, it's going to. You notice that all the fucking people who talk on Twitter and all that shit, they always yell, "Oh, blue wave," all this stuff, right?
I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen the memes and the pictures. It's quite.
You never see a lot of conservatives though talking about it. You know why?
They don't have to.
No, because during the day they're fucking working.
It's interesting you mentioned that, because I saw a few comments. I think Styx Hexenhammer was talking about this, and he said that I think it was that the Republicans don't know how, or when they win they fuck up because they don't know how to win, if that makes sense. Was that what he said? But implying that the Republicans aren't. When they win, they just seem to be prone to fucking things up afterwards, not pouncing on things and taking advantage of it. But I think by not taking advantage of this, letting the children continue to act like children when they should be adults, it just makes them look even worse. The stiff upper lip approach is what you need to apply, and it appears to work. People will, of course, mock those that do get emotional about things they're passionate about or things that actually genuinely hurt them. Let's just compare the absolute shit show that was the Senate hearing, the tears from Kavanaugh and the tears from Ford. People will now say, yes, but if Christine Blasey Ford showed the same passion that Kavanaugh did, someone would say she's hysterical. No. If she showed any level of passion, it'd be slightly more believable. Although, for the most part, nobody believes her. That isn't a low IQ, beta idiot.
It kind of hurts to read some of the Twitter comments sometimes.
It's amusing, especially when I see people I respect retweet these things, because then I know that they're showing. I know they're no longer ashamed to be a Democrat. Like Sophane, he's very much a liberal, and he's been retweeting Christiosity, who has been very much in favour of, let's just not have Kavanaugh. But the only reason the Democrats don't want him is because it means another win for Trump. That's it. It's not because Kavanaugh is actually a legitimate threat. It's not because of anything he's ever done. In fact, they haven't been able to argue against anything he's ever done because he's actually not done anything bad. It's just been a case of, right, we need something to really fuck him up. And then some Democrat, Jill Feinstein, just comes over. Is it Jill Feinstein? Is that her name?
Yeah, Dianne
and Dianne Feinstein, sorry. I think I said Jill last week. But Dianne Feinstein just comes over and says, hold my beer. I'll go find us something. That's the kind of patheticness. Patheticness? Yeah. Let's call it that. Of this whole charade. It's embarrassing.
It is, and they're actually end up biting themselves in the ass because of it. Somebody made a good point. I believe it was Dibula. Hang on. He says that right now Republicans doing nothing is actually helping them. We don't have to do a lot because normal people, the vast majority of the people in this country, they are common sense.
People have been using the meme of how the Democrats have been behaving and then portraying that as all Democrats. I will say that straw man doesn't work. But then obviously saying at the same time that all Republicans are the polar opposite is equally a straw man and not entirely true. There are, of course, some outrageous and utterly insane Republicans. Donald Trump isn't one of them because, let's face it, he's not a Republican.
Oh, no, he's not.
For fuck's sake.
Conservative, sure, but Republican, definitely not.
Oh, he barely falls into the bracket of conservative. It's laughable.
I mean, based on his policies, yeah, but
the thing is, Trump, and this actually, I'd argue this is similar to the behaviour of maybe some of the era of George Bush, because George Bush won on the Electoral College on his first term, but then he won the second one in a landslide because of the September 11th certainly helped with what he did, because he was very much front and centre with a lot of it. And because people supported what he did military-wise at the time, but he was very much involved. He was he changed the opinion of him as a twat, and then once things died down, he became a twat again. Trump is being perceived. It's a somewhat similar pattern with another Republican, even though he's not a Republican. I would also argue that Bush was not really much of a Republican either, to be honest.
Yeah, actually, there have been some analyses over the years that the last actual Republican was, in fact, Reagan. But
Bush was so... I don't know. I felt like he was middle-of-the-road kind of guy.
Well, because Bush Sr. Didn't help out too much either. Obviously, Clinton wasn't. Bush Jr. with a couple of his decisions with, for example, the Patriot Act, definitely not really conservative ideas, and that was the thing that stuck with him after 9/11.
With the way that Trump won his on the Electoral College as well, like Bush, and obviously you don't have that major. I'm not going to say I would wish that for Trump. Fuck no, I wouldn't wish for anyone to ever experience what happened ever again. But what happened, and then what Bush did. With Trump, the only major controversy is the fact that he exists. That's it.
Right. He succeeds by existing.
Yeah. And he's going to continue. The annoying thing is he's going to continue existing provided he doesn't bite any of the childish bait. He's, in fact, in some of the things he has done, he has been more presidential than anyone I've seen before. certainly when he gives speeches, he's very, very calm, and he's not passing off airy bollocks policies.
No, he's not, and that's why people voted for him.
But there are a few policies I don't agree with.
A politician.
I will say the trans ban thing, not entirely a fan of, but it's a circumstance thing. I think if it's somebody who's mid-transition, yeah, or for the first couple of years afterwards, yeah, I get it, because you're reliant on medication still.
I would say just subject to evaluation.
Yeah, exactly. I think it should be circumstance-based, because it's not really a cost thing. It's definitely not that. No, that excuse was used. I don't support any of that. But I do think he's achieved a lot. Granted, some of it can certainly, like, you talk about the employment rate for African Americans, but that was going down under Obama. So actually, that's not entirely Trump's success. It's great that it's going down more still, but he can't take all the credit. It's quite interesting how selective some people get on that front. They'll say the president should take credit for this, and this, but then when it's a new president, they don't like him. No, he can't take credit for that. No. He did nothing. The presidents don't actually do anything. Let's shift them goalposts.
Oh, actually, you know what? Before we end, little thing. You know that whole thing that's going off on Twitter, how everyone's freaking out that the president, quote unquote, texts them all?
What?
Okay, there was a presidential alert system that sent out a test message yesterday at like 2 o'clock our time, and the amount of freaking out that Americans had because, oh my god, the orange man is in my phone now, he's technologically raping me, I shit you not, I read this tweet. I'm gonna find it for you and give it to you later.
I'm already on it.
Okay, good.
What was it called? Was it the Trump text?
Yeah, Trump text, and then I think it's type in Orange Menace. I believe that was what they called him.
Presidential alert. This is a test of the National Wireless Emergency Alert System. No action. I can actually show this of the alert. Here it is. The alert that people got. The MC rib is back. The McRib is back. I love it. Presidential alert. FEMA test. You up?
Oh, they're so good. But anyway, like the whole thing.
Oh, hang on. Trump national alert. Huge wave. Very wet in terms of water. I'll be there with paper towels soon. Presidential alert. Your car is slow. I go, what the fuck is this shit? What's this scrawny little thing? Oh, amazing. Hang on. Former President Barack Obama signed a law in 2016 requiring FEMA to create a system that lets US presidents send cell phone alerts regarding public safety issues. So it wasn't even something that Trump came up with.
Right, that was the eventual segue, is that this is actually an Obama era thing.
LOL. I love it. That's quite a happy
thing. And here, for the last thing that people can be left with, can be this amazing tweet.
Oh, hang on.
I pulled it up.
Give me a second. I will go and I'll add image. Image. Give me the fucking image. There it is. Image. Okay, so for everyone watching, you get a glorious tweet and the stream on. Where is it? My phone was assaulted by an orange menace. I feel violated. If it's just a test of the emergency broadcast system, I get that. But to make it a presidential alert in my space, he's raping us through technology. Ah, glorious. Before we end, Trups, is there anything you would like to shill or add?
Well, I finally have a Streamlabs up, so when I do end up doing streams on my own or with our Cthulhu Lord here, and probably even more after that, that is now up. And tomorrow should be coming a new Food for Thought video on the idea of personality and what makes up actually your personality. Not you personally, but you, the listener.
He's calling you normies.
But yeah, so that's what I got. You?
I'm gonna end this